to another Kalicube Tuesdays. I'm in control today because Anton is the guest rather than being the man behind the scenes. Welcome, Anton.
Thanks, Jason. It's very, very unusual feeling, I have to say.
Right. Well, I've been waiting for this for literally a year. I keep waiting for a guest not to turn up at the very last minute because you were always the fallback option. But actually, we've got you on as the first option because I wanted to hear all about live streams as influencer marketing tool. And this is going to be awesome. And you get the song, and you're probably the person who's heard the song more often than anybody else. A quick hello, and we're good to go. Welcome to the show, Anton Shulke.
Thank you, Jason. I did hear this song so many times, but not for Anton Shulke. Thank you very much. Before I start, I want to make some disclaimer. You can see how bad is my chair. I blame my cat.
I was going to say, it looks like a tiger's been chewing it.
Yeah, it's slightly smaller than a tiger. Yeah, hopefully we'll never be a tiger size.
Right, you're constantly looking over your shoulder, worrying about the tiger that's about to eat the back of your head.
Exactly, yeah.
Delightful. Welcome, Anton. This is going to be absolutely awesome. You're one of my favorite people in the entire universe, so I'm terribly pleased to have you here. But before we talk about that, talk very quickly about another of my favorite people. Koray, Gübür, has written one of the first articles written about brand SERPs that isn't written by me. And he's done an amazing job. What I really love about this is he has seen things that I haven't seen. He has a point of view that I don't have. And he's written a series of 3 articles, 25,000 words, of how he's been using Kalicube Pro for brand SERPs, knowledge panels, and generally investigating entities within SEO. I'm really happy to have somebody else on board who's willing to talk about this almost as much as I do. And here's a screenshot from the article. He's got lots of quotes. He's really smart. And please do go and read that article because it's awesome and Koray is awesome. Now on to Anton. Here you go. That's your brand SERP. We start off with the brand SERP, and I've put the time at the top at 12:54 because you've got those Twitter boxes and it says, hello, Jason Barnard. This is Twitter trick in action, 16 seconds, because 16 seconds before, the Twitter boxes weren't there. So it was the idea that Anton hadn't tweeted for a while. So what we then did is said, come, please, Anton, tweet out, and the Twitter boxes will be triggered. So this was at, in fact, 12:49, 5 minutes later, in fact, 16 seconds after he tweeted, this is the Twitter trick in action, we reactivated those Twitter boxes, which I think is just so much fun. It doesn't necessarily have any importance in brand SERPs or in marketing, but it's a lot of fun when you go from that to that and you realize the control you've had. The second point I wanted to make is that your site is number 3 here. Anton Shulke, head of influence marketing at Duda. How long ago did we build that site?
Months and a half.
Yeah, it's a one-pager.
I was at SEMrush and I left SEMrush at the last week of July. So July we've done this somewhere middle of July, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and it took a month for us to rank that site. It's a brand new site, brand new domain, and we ranked on the brand SERP within the space of a month. We also have an empty knowledge panel, and I'm determined now that we will trigger a knowledge panel for Anton Shulke before the end of the year. This is experiment number 5,624. Welcome to the Kalicube Pro experiment, Anton.
Yeah, but obviously Anton Shulke is not the most searchable term, so probably it's reasonably easy to rank on Anton Shulke, isn't it?
It's relatively easy, but triggering a knowledge panel is actually a lot to do with...
Very difficult, but the site to rank, it's not really a big job, so it's not really huge SEO achievement, isn't it?
Right, okay. Anton Shulke, and I quote, Jason Barnard did no SEO achievement by ranking my site on my name. I'm terribly disappointed, Anton. I thought you would big me up. Anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about live streams as influencer marketing tool. You've talked to me about this a lot. It's something you're completely obsessed about.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's just start with live streams, because I think you've taught a lot of people in the industry about how to do live streams, how to get the right lighting. We were discussing that, how to get great sound, how to get a great image. That's the basis. Now, once you've done that, how do you use it for influence marketing?
It's obviously it's a basic. If you don't have a first good sound, if people cannot really read you, they won't stay. Whatever you say, they won't stay. They go away. Picture is nice as well because it's video, but this is all technical stuff. Why people do live streams? Okay, we used to call it webinars. We still call them webinars, but webinars became kind of like a vulgar word. Yeah, so I would prefer live stream, which is the same anyway. Why people doing it? People doing for very, very different reasons. Why, Jason? Why you doing them? Tell me.
Because you told me to be honest. But I think the nice thing about live stream is that it covers both webinars and solo people who are just somebody like Brian Wallace who will just speak to the camera. That's a live stream too. So it covers more stuff. But from my perspective, I was doing the podcast. I had to come online because of the COVID pandemic, and you helped me enormously in actually setting this up. And it's turned out to be a lot of fun and actually incredibly powerful.
How many have you done?
Well, 52 up until June this year, so it must be now 70. 65.
Okay, 70 live streams, so you have about 70 people. Probably you have a couple of people twice or something, but never mind, 70 people. How many people you knew before, knew very well before that?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. Very, very good question. And now you're interviewing me, which is the wrong way around. I would say I didn't know at all about a quarter. I knew reasonably well, or by sight or by reputation, about another quarter, maybe a little bit more. Let's say, and then a third that I knew really, really well. And then Week Nadu on top is somebody I know better than I would like.
Basically half of the people you didn't interview, you didn't have a relationship and everything, and half you more or less you did. Okay, out of the 70, if you tomorrow you call them and say, I have an opening slot, would you do it? How many of them will come back and be here in this city?
Oh, yeah, I probably 60.
Yeah, so probably most of them. Maybe some of them they don't, because I don't know, because why people wouldn't come? Did you do something wrong with them?
I think the only reason somebody wouldn't come back, as long as the live stream was positive for them, is I've done that and I need to focus on doing new things as opposed to redoing old things again. So that would be the only barrier.
This is your point of view. I'm talking. I'm pretty sure all of the 70 people, almost, if you call them and say, let's do another one, talk about another topic, they probably will come. Which what I'm trying to push the point, so you're kind of making a lot of friends by doing this. And obviously, as more famous you are, as more audience you have, people will start people already queuing into get into the seat. This is an extremely powerful tool. It's what I'm trying to say all the time. People doing live stream for very, very different reasons. Some people, most of the people, think about a brand awareness or brand recognition. Some people even think about selling stuff, which I wouldn't recommend unless people come to buy your stuff and you just need to show it around. People think about a live stream or webinars as a lead generation tool, which is probably not too bad as well. But for us, for a long time, or for me, for a long time, it was the major thing is influencer marketing. Is making a friends, basically. Okay, you started with making a friends. Like 2 years ago, you were digital nomad, so you were flying around, meeting people in real life, which always is much more powerful, of course. But how many people you can meet in a certain amount of time, and money? Obviously, if money is not a question, but now it doesn't matter. You can't fly now. Now, Corona. Okay, you went to Brighton.
Yep.
SEO. You went. Did you go to PubCon?
Yeah, no, I've got my, no, I couldn't go to PubCon, but I've got my Eurostar water from going across on the Eurostar to Brighton, and I'm terribly pleased. This is my first bottle of water, international bottle of water, for a year and a half. So but yeah, I mean, as you say, when you actually meet people in conferences, it's one by one, maybe slower, maybe less visible. I mean, I actually have a couple of interviews. I now need to kind of package them up and release them. There's also kind of, obviously you can only interview people who are actually there. Whereas with live streams, I can interview anybody, because for that first year and a half, I was saying to people, I can't interview you because I can't meet you. And now I can just say I can interview anybody.
Yeah, you can interview people. You can do live stream, not necessarily this type of format like interview. You can make a classical or semi-classical webinar when people bring something to audience and have a conversation and everything. And if you manage at the end of the webinar to please everyone, first one, you have to bring audience, because obviously I'm not looking at YouTube counter right now. I don't really care, but a lot of people probably would be interested to see people watching them, if people asking a question, all this kind of things. So first you have to deliver that. If you deliver that, most of the people would be pleased. I work a lot with SEO people, and I found that SEO people, they specifically like a good conversation. So if you manage to put on the screen 4 intelligent, knowledgeable, reasonably polite people. Amon Jones asking when I'm coming to Brighton. Probably now it's even more difficult. Britain left European Union, so British visa for me is a problem. I don't need visa to go to European Union, but Britain, yeah. So ask the Queen. I don't know who is responsible for that.
Right, so, but Tony, what you were saying was that SEO people like a good conversation. That's what made me put that up, because in fact we've got Doc Sheldon here, we've got Amon Johns, we've got Zara, we've got Jeannie Hill, we've got Alessia, we've got whoever it might be at Sightbulb. The choice is quite wide. It might be Jeff. Hopefully somebody who's interested in the topic of influencer marketing, so I would guess it would be Jeff. But it is that idea, is we're looking for conversation, informative conversation.
Yeah, it's informative conversation, because obviously audience, you still, whatever you please your influencer, but if audience just leaving after 5 minutes, something you're doing obviously wrong. So you're talking about something which interesting for audience, something practical enough, reasonably practical, but still for SEO people, if you manage to get the conversation running, that they love it. Amon Jones and Doc Sheldon, which we've seen in the audience, Amon was doing. I don't know how to say it, because it started on the Google Plus. Hangouts. It used to call Hangouts. Now it's not Hangouts. Now it's something different. With Bill Slavsky, and there were so many people went through this. And for me, it was I was there, just was listening and watching, and for me it was really interesting. And I met a lot of people there. And actually, I met John Mueller there, and Amon Jones actually helped me to fix. I had a problem with one of my live stream, which called Google Q&A, and we had some kind of issues there. And Amon Jones managed to get me with John Mueller, and we managed to fix this problem. So it's how it works. People met here. So for example, before going live, there is some time, but usually it's a short time, because people did not come in half an hour early. But after this, when you press a button, everyone there, this is invaluable time. People stay there, people talk about things, and people, there's no camera, and people can talk fairly fairly openly about many things, and there are so many, I don't want to say deals made there, but so many things go done there. And I'm pretty sure everyone who went to webinar, they know these things. After webinar time is incredibly valuable. So I always found that someone always just go away, and 3-5 people stay there and talk about things, sometimes for a long time.
But I mean, there is that kind of thing. I mean, what you just pointed out is that you've got kind of me as a host inviting people I didn't necessarily know before, who then become acquaintances or connections, the guests themselves who get the audience, and then the audience, in fact, as you rightly say, who are chatting between themselves, who end up also with kind of some kind of influencer benefit, as it were, from attending.
You mean audience who watching the webinar?
Yeah,
it's another thing.
That's three audiences or three sets of people to please.
Yeah, but audience can actually get enormous benefit, because if you may ask an intelligent question to one of the person who's on the screen, for example, if someone who doesn't know you but wants to get connection with you now in a YouTube live chat, will ask some intelligent question, you will notice it, and this person probably can go and tweet something to you, say, oh, I watched your webinar, it was absolutely fantastic, and I ask you that question, and I have some follow-up question. What would you do? And surely you will contact and start answering the question. It's how you can make contact with an influencer from audience point of view as well.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, the thing is, I'm so often on this side that I don't actually see, I'm now watching it, because usually Anton deals with the comments, and there's loads of comments, and it's quite difficult to kind of deal with both at the same time. But from my perspective, you've got the three audiences, which is myself as the host, the person who's guesting, who's trying to reach a wider audience, and the audience themselves, who are potentially connecting with each other but learning stuff. So you really need to please three audiences. How do you keep that balance?
I think it's kind of it's never been a problem, obviously, because yes, people want to talk about SEO, want to talk about everything. If you can steer them slightly in a direction, because people who are watching them, most of them, they want some kind of practical thing. Yeah. So if at the end of whatever 30 minutes, 60 minutes conversation, you will give them something, audience, the lowest audience, something to play with, and which works, fantastic. So shouldn't be a really problem.
So go on then. Now let's move forward with the practical tips. So you talk about that all the time, and I remember when I go on webinars with you, you say, what are the practical points? What are you going to teach people that they actually go away and do? So that's going to be the next part of this interview, is what can people go away and do if you want to use live streaming as an influencer marketing tool?
Yeah, okay. Obviously, people say, yeah, okay, I'm like ex-SEMrush. SEMrush is a big name for SEO industry. Being a SEMrush is very easy to do webinars. It's absolutely true. Being a big guy, I'm working for, I don't know, for Coca-Cola, probably would be very, very easy to do Coca-Cola webinars or something like that. But I started when I was absolutely nobody. I didn't know anything, and I worked for a company which nobody knows about. And I managed eventually to get almost everyone to their webinars. Obviously, you're trying to play things. It's a real politics, because you don't know anyone, you have no money, nobody knows you. It's very, very difficult situation. So how do you do that? Oh, well, you find someone who open to talk to you. So you talk to, first of all, for example, it's a Jason Barnard. And he said, oh, yeah, I have a great audience and blah, blah, and you're fantastic. We really want to talk to you. Can you talk to us about brand SERP? So you probably will say yes. Okay, if you won't say yes, I ask 15,000 people, and one of them will say yes. You have one, you have another one, and after that, it's much easier, because you go to third one and say, look, I already have his and her. Yeah. So yeah, it's easy. Okay. Exact next step, someone say no, someone say yes, but people more inclined to say yes because they want to be seen in this company. And as how you can start, but always the main thing is it's influencer marketing too. So you have to please influencer. You have to make sure, you have to understand what influencer really want. Because, for example, if you don't have audience and you really know you're not going to have thousand people, and if influencer is really pushing you for audience, then maybe it's not a good idea to go and have a live stream with him. Go with someone who probably more concentrate on the topic and the conversation and everything, and build it up. So that the main thing for me, the main thing is I've done a webinar with someone who I've never done a webinar before, and this person next day call me or write me email, say, "Oh, well, fantastic webinar. When can we do another one?" So this is the main thing. If it happens, then it's a good one. Yeah, of course, I do want a lot of audience. I want engagement. I want thousand views on YouTube. Everything, but it doesn't happen that one thing will just cover everything. So the main thing for me is that this influencer who I targeted call me back and say, "I want to do another one with you."
Right. I mean, kind of, and that's the idea is you start off kind of with one thing and you build on that and you build on that and you build on that. And the key is to make sure that everybody is getting something out of it and that the person who comes on the show, the influencer, is happy to have been on the show. Is that a lot to do with the way you welcome them rather than the results they actually get?
It depends what you mean results. As I said, for many SEO people, the good conversation maybe is the best result. So obviously, some people wants to be seen on the screen with other people. So you have a bigger encore. You have whatever. You have Che Guevara, and you can bring some. Okay, Che Guevara is dead already. I know.
No, exactly. You're not going to get him, are you?
No, not really. So you have a bigger one. You have a small one, guys. And more thing. It happened a few times with me. You just decide, okay, this guy. Why should you have this guy? It's okay. He's fine. He's a nice guy, and he's smart. Nobody maybe knows about him yet, and you push him a couple of times on a token webinar, and after that, what happened? The guy becomes bigger than you are. Not me, but your webinar system. The guy becomes bigger, famous, known, and hopefully you still doing things with me. One of these guys is Jason Barnard.
Well, I mean, that actually does come. We've been working together a lot the last 3 years, and I think kind of a lot of people know that we work a lot together. But that initially started by me saying to you,
it's 2017 we started.
Really? Oh, right. That's 4 years. I can't count. Thank you very much. And it actually started because I said, I'd love to do the SEO is AEO series, 15 episodes. And you said yes. And you said yes from memory because you thought I can rely on this guy to actually turn up and do the job. That was more or less it. It was kind of reliability is incredibly important.
Yeah, it is important, but it's actually... Someone approach when you became bigger, not when nobody knows you, it's a different story, but when you kind of established as a webinar provider and people and someone wants to talk to you, well, you think, who knows, maybe it's the next Lady Gaga. Well, okay.
You're making some really bad examples here.
Sorry.
I do not look like Lady Gaga.
No, you don't, but you sing almost like her. Or maybe better even. Yeah. Okay, so you don't know. And for example, we had this model of format of a webinar when we have one host. Now we call it Encore, by the way, instead of
Anchor.
Host. Anchor. So we have Anchor, we have speaker with a short presentation. We have two panelists. Obviously, panelists slightly less important figures. So this gives you opportunity to try people. So somebody wants to be on your webinar, pull him as a...
Erin's saying you need to give time to people who don't have a reputation or a wake yet. I mean, that's really important. From that perspective, choosing those kind of people and the balance that you get. when you're doing webinars at SEMrush, what I tended to see, and I might be wrong, is you would have an established figure, somebody who's really into the topic, who's incredibly, what's the word, obsessed by a topic, and then often somebody else who was maybe new, and that was a strategy. You would spread it out like that.
Yeah, it was part of the strategy. So we always wanted to get new people, because it's a small guy or girl, you bring him or her and see what happens. And sometimes the results are fantastic, so that they've grown up and became bigger than everyone was in the original webinar. Sometimes it doesn't, but it's fine. The only major problem I have with it, you have to have a lot of webinars in order to bring a lot of people.
But no, sorry, that's a really interesting point. Kind of, I think a lot of people, a lot of companies think if I put out one webinar, one live stream, I'm going to make it and I'll get this audience. But it's actually this kind of continuous thing which you did at SEMrush, and I'm trying to do with Kalicube Tuesdays, is week after week after week after week, being there with some valuable content, with some great people.
Yeah, I think regularity is a king. But what I try to say is a kind of disadvantage, because you try to bring a lot of people, a lot of influencers, small or bigger one, and because you only have how many days a year, so you start doing a lot of webinars, which obviously affect your audience, because you have some kind of core audience,
right?
And people, they're not gonna attend like 2 webinars a week, which we were doing at SEMrush, 2 webinars a week. We were doing it mainly. SEMrush had huge audience, so it's kind of still was not too bad. But if you're very, very small, so you have to balance what you need to get audience, or you need to get more influencer, and sometimes it's very, very difficult choice.
Right, and that regularity, I was actually looking the other day. If I keep going with Kalicube Tuesdays, how long will it be before a Kalicube Tuesdays falls on the 25th of December or the 1st of January? And the answer is 2035 or something like that. So I'm going to have to keep going for the 14 years before I hit a New Year's Day. But that wasn't the topic. One thing that does intrigue me is at SEMrush, you were saying it's easy because SEMrush is a big kind of player in the market. So people want to be on the SEMrush webinars. You've now moved to Duda. Is it more difficult, or is your charm and charisma pulling people along with you?
I did
couldn't resist.
I did pull you, Don Anderson, and Fabrice Canal from Bing for the next one. So hopefully everyone will go there and watch it September 22. Yes and no, because for Duda, when I joined the SEMrush already had a brand recognition and brand awareness. So yeah, I didn't need to go and just bring a brand awareness. I needed to bring something much bigger, and we tried to bring to get loyal audience. For example, besides influencer marketing, we try to get loyal audience, which is step higher or step deeper. I don't, depends on where you go. So it's with Duda it's kind of easier because nobody knows what Duda is. So if you bring Duda, if people would recognize what Duda is, Duda is website builder, great one, by the way. I'm not selling it. I'm not in sales. So it would be already achievement. So it's much easier because it's a lower step. But of course, it's much more difficult to bring people to work, to speak for Duda. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I have enough friends to start it, but I see differences.
Jeff is saying it's a different pool. Is that for Duda, people are looking for something slightly different? I mean, it's a lesser known brand, but maybe. Go ahead.
Duda doesn't have a brand. Duda has a product. Different pool. It's probably not 100% overlap. I agree, but still, for example, SEO people should be good influencer for people, for web designer people, and not even web design for people who has own site. Because why people own site? Because they want to sell something. If they want to sell something, they need traffic. If they need traffic, they need SEO, PPC, content marketing. So. Not 100% overlap, but a lot of influencer would be the same. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, because this is a comment I was looking at. your name itself, I mean, people actually do, influencers, people like you, people appreciate you, people have seen what you've done over the years. And a lot of the reason I think people want to work with you or do work with you because of who you are and who you've become.
Well, I don't know. You should ask me this question. It's not a question for me. I hope
okay,
so,
in that case, it was a question disguised as a statement, or a statement disguised as a question. I think that you have brought so much to so many people within the industry that you are part of the brand and that people are actually following you. So you're actually, by influencer marketing through live streams, become an influencer marketer yourself.
Well, I like to believe that, but I would probably put myself that I arrange things, and now I'm asking people to help me because I think we're friends and we do many things. But you can't live on favors for a long time.
No. Ooh,
so
good point.
Okay, I can pull you once, I can pull you twice, just say, okay, could you do me a favor? I can pull you 3 times. After that, you said, yeah, I'll do that, but I'm busy that week, something like that. So I do have to deliver for people who will be keep doing it with me, but for different company. I need to deliver something that they want to see. So, for example, if we're talking about webinars, audience should be there. I'm pretty sure audience. Dudu already had an audience. Dudu have 17,000 agents as a client. So audience is there. It's slightly different pool as can't remember, someone mentioned in comments, but audience is there. But it's not only audience, it's a good conversation. Yeah, Jeff Kennedy.
Jeff Kennedy mentioned it. It's a different pool, yeah.
Yeah, it's not 100% overlap, but it's not completely different. In terms of influencer marketing, in terms of low audience, is still very close. People at SEMrush, we had a lot of people which we call one-man army. When someone has a website and trying to do absolutely everything, and we had plenty of people like that. So, and this is Duda's audience as well. I mean, lowest audience if you're not looking at agency or big clients. So yeah, not. But what I'm saying, you can't live on favors forever. So you have to bring your influencers something that they want to see.
Right, yeah, because that was what really struck me, is we were talking about regularity earlier on, and now you're talking about the fact you can't live on favors forever. You need to keep producing quality content that satisfies those 3 audiences we talked about, those 3 groups of people: the guest, the organizer, and the audience. And you can never let up. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. You have to keep performing.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, maybe one day I will win the lottery. Which is difficult because I'm never buy a ticket, and I'll give it up. But yes, it is pressure. It is a lot of pressure, I have to say. And sometimes I feel imposter syndrome. Not sometimes, very often I have this imposter syndrome, and I think, okay, this great guys, the knowledgeable guy and girls, they know, and I'm trying to pull them all together and try to make them work for me. Yeah, no, it's not exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to work for them as much as possible.
Exactly, that's what Erin is saying. It's not you're working for them or they're working for you. It's both of you working for each other.
Yeah, of course, it is what we try to arrange. It's win-win situation when everyone's happy. But still, I do have this imposter syndrome, and I'm just sleeping and think, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? Do we have everything? And obviously, sometimes if talking about live stream, sometimes you have great ones. Sometimes you have, I don't want to say shitty one, but just mediocre one. If you do a lot, you obviously. Probably you had even shitty one, but shitty one is really when it's something really happened. Technically, you cannot see, you cannot hear. But sometimes you just webinar. We made a webinar and it's nothing there. And if you, what the fuck? Why I'm doing that? And all this kind. And after that, you feel you have to really go and improve things.
Sorry, that makes me think of one thing, is when something doesn't go as well as you thought it would, your first reaction is to say, how can I make this better? How can I improve?
Yeah, obviously, because it's not like I have a reaction. I hate it. I'm going to go goodbye and go. No, obviously I'll look at that and first think, what have I done wrong? And I'm trying to be very, very clear with myself. Because sometimes, you get in an email and someone say, oh, your webinar was shit because blah, blah. And first your reaction is, go to keyboard and say, you shit yourself and blah, blah, blah. I had this feeling all the time, believe me. I never done it because you read it and sometimes you think, no, guys, just no, I don't think he is right. But very often people correct. And obviously you try to kind of, even if someone is not correct, saying you shit and everything, my first reaction is you shit yourself. I've never done it, and I try to learn, because you think you know everything. Every expert thinks they know absolutely everything, but it's not. Yeah, I've done like 600 webinars. And you think you know everything, but you don't. So many people done many things, and you have to look. Maybe someone done something much better, so you have to learn. Yeah, and you learn when it all goes wrong. I mean, not in terms of technically, but in terms you can see people not interested. Even people who are on a webinar itself, they're not interested. They're just all this. So you think, what have you done wrong? Try to avoid it next time.
Well, in that circumstance, what you have done wrong is invited the wrong people, or is it the wrong combination of people?
It could be the wrong combination of people. It could be, for example, as I said, usually you have a speaker, and speaker is very important because it brings you the main idea of everything, and it wasn't really anything there. Sometimes it's a host or anchor who is just not doing well, because it's a very, very, you know that very well. So some hosts, they're too talkative, and they think that they just king of the road, and they have to talk and talk and talk.
Well, sorry, you can carry on, but just one thing as a host that is actually very difficult is to shut up. Because you want to say, oh, I've got a point about that. And it is very difficult. And one nice thing that you've always done is told me when I speak too much. Sorry, carry on. But as a host, it is a very specific role, which is to navigate between people and contribute without bullying. Sorry, go ahead.
It is very specific role, and obviously host, if host see one of the panelists not very talkative and just the host's job to pull this panelist and let him or her speak a lot. And when sometimes you have speaker or panelist who is very, very talkative, it's very difficult to let other people speak, but this is a job. Yeah, you have. And for me, being behind this, you can't do anything by this. It's all going.
But that's a really interesting point, because once you've launched it, you have no control. There's nothing you can do. That must be incredibly frustrating and finger biting.
Very little you can do. You can type to a particular host or particular person, but usually nobody checking messages. I can see several of my messages bleeping now, but I'm not going to check them till we finish. So most of the time, people they won't check, and so you can't do anything. It's probably I never be a manager of football team, but probably it's kind of like that. So you set everything up, and after that, what can you do? Okay, football manager can do changes. You can't do changes.
Right, yeah. Or if you do, you cut people off in the middle, and then you look really rude, and you lose all your friends. But yeah, that's a nice analogy, and it's picking the right team to perform in a webinar, on a live stream, or whatever you want to call it, is the art of what you do, basically. It's picking the team, picking the place, picking the topic.
Yes, but obviously you work more with a host, and you can explain him or her what you think is right, and you adjust with the host temper and everything. So and after that, you add people, and sometimes it works tremendously well. And we had some people became friends in a webinar room, and after that go and do things and other. And sometimes it doesn't go that well. And some people, not many. I have to say not many, but some people probably stop talking after doing webinars together. But probably not very many people out of 600 webinars.
No, I think probably not very many. So what the conclusion of this is, as the webinar organizer, using live streams as an influence marketing tool for your company, it's all about being the coach. You talked about cat herder, which I love as a term. It's actually trying to organize everyone to get together, but cat herder is underplaying your role. Your role is coach, picking the right team, picking the right place, picking the right subject. I think you've been awesome. You're one of my favorite people in the world, and certainly in terms of webinars. I mean, we were talking about giving somebody a chance. Jeff was talking about that. You gave me my chance, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And you've really, really, really nailed it over your 600 and whatever it is webinars. Thank you very much, Anton, for sharing all your secrets. Now, before we end, quickly going to introduce Kevin Indig next week, split test SEO experiments. I've been learning a little bit about it, but Kevin is going to tell me much more about it than I could possibly wish to know. And I'm really looking forward to it because he's one of the smartest people I've ever met, alongside Anton, who's one of the nicest people and smartest people I've ever met. Thank you very much, Anton. Thank you to everybody for all your comments. That was brilliant. I was watching the chat, didn't put everything up, but that was absolutely awesome. A quick goodbye to end the show. Thank you, Anton.
Thanks, Jason, and thanks, guys, for watching it.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, everybody, and see you soon, guys.